Hello, Unleashers. Oh my goodness. Welcome to day one. Oh, I can't believe it's finally here. All the anticipation, all the excitement, everything that we have been gearing up for. And if you're watching this in replay, just comment below that you're watching in replay. But those of you who are joining live, make sure you give me a quick hello. Let me know that you are here and say hi. I'm going to try to keep up on the chat here while we go through today as well. Oh, wow. So welcome to Unleashed. For some of you, this is your first Unleashed experience, and you're already probably wondering, like, what the hell is going on with my energy over this last week? And for others of you, you've been here, maybe this is your second one, or the most number of times that anybody's would be here is this would be your fourth, some of our diehard Unleashers. So I think that is just like, I still am just so filled with gratitude for this opportunity to do the Unleashed experience. And today we're going to be talking all about the action code, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But before I do that, myself, Amy, and Ashley, your success coaches, just so humbled and so grateful that I get to share this really impactful message with all of you. And again, for some of you, this is your first time, and for others of you, you've been here. And that says so much, because I think for me personally, and I know every single time I teach it, I learn more, it comes through in a different way, it comes through even more succinct. But what that tells me is that what you're stepping into in this Unleashed experience is very simply a helix of growth. It's like a never-ending, infinite possibilities for growth. So how you hear it this week will be totally different than how you hear it the next go around and the next go around, and the integration gets deeper and deeper and deeper every step of the way. And this, I don't know, I don't even have words. I don't have words. Okay, so I see so many of you popping on here. Hi, Gina. Hello, Nancy and Paula and Ashwak and Gina and Martina and Ina and Linda and Jessica and Lawrence, and hi, Jenny, and hi, Vicky, and hi, everybody. So awesome to see you here. So let's talk about what this week is really going to entail. So we have so many amazing things planned for you this week. And this is a culmination of something that I've been teaching over the last year, and it just keeps getting more and more solidified. Hello, Apsana. So first and foremost, I'll be sharing my story throughout. So those of you that don't know me very well, which I feel like many of you have, we've already had some interactions, or we've already connected on a big level, but I'll be sharing my story throughout. So I'm not going to waste any of our time today going into my background and my story. Like, frankly, it's irrelevant, because this is an energy transmission. So it really doesn't matter what my background and my story is, because this is bigger than all of that. That's just the human piece. Like, what we're doing here is, again, there's not really language for it. It's a transmission of energy, which is why you're going to be feeling things and understanding things at a level that's way deeper than the mind, if you stay open and allow it. Okay, so the other thing, so let me just give you the background. So everything in the Unleashed experience let me think here. Everything in the Unleashed experience is what I realized. I didn't know that I had this gift until about 1.5 years ago, but I have a direct access to Gus. We all have direct access to Gus. So some of you might be like, what the heck is Gus? Well, Gus is the name that we've come up with here in our community, in our collective, for God, Universe, Source. So I wanted an acronym, because I was always using those 3 terms for whatever you refer to as your higher power. So you're going to hear us talking about Gus a lot, because this is a co-creation space. This is where you tap into your infinite potential, your infinite possibilities for your life and for your business, where you shortcut things, where you collapse time, where you step into instantaneous manifestation. And that might sound like hype, and that might sound like, yeah, you know, right? But I can tell you, in working and playing with energy now for as long as I have, it freaking works. It's the real deal. So we're going to talk about all the codes. So I've been able to identify through co-creation with Gus. I can't take credit for this. I'm accessing the database of consciousness. This is just how it was delivered to me, and then how I can turn around and deliver it to you. Essentially, I've uncovered 4 codes, and we're calling them the wealth codes, but we're applying them directly to business. And the background of the wealth codes, I'm talking really fast. This is how I channel. It comes through really fast. When I'm talking about the wealth codes, what I'm really talking about is we've had this massive shift in our consciousness, and we've been on this, many of you, and we'll talk more about this when we get deeper into the codes later this week, many of you have been on an enlightenment journey for quite some time. And what's really wild is that we've increased our consciousness to this massive level. And this is really what we're going to talk about in the Awaken Code on Thursday. And it's been a powerful journey. But there's actually another path. I'm calling it Enlightenment 2.0. The first path is, how do we really tap deeply into our spiritual being and the limitlessness of who we are? The second path is then, how do we stay 100% spiritual and also fully materialize the juiciest, the most amazing, impactful, incredible life that we possibly can as human beings? So that's Enlightenment 2.0, which means, how can you have your cake and eat it too? How can you be totally tapped the frick in to the amazingness of your spiritual being, the wholeness and the completeness, while also, again, creating wild wealth, not for consumption or anything that's built on the back of ego, but for world change and circulation and being a role model for wealth in a way. And that's why you're all here. So I'm kind of going on a separate tangent, but I want to get to the action code. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today, specifically in the very first code. The first code is going to be all about kind of the human aspect of business. You guys are going to love this. Your brains are going to love it. Your fucking ego is going to eat this shit up. I'm already cussing, so you know you're in the right place if you kind of like that energy coming through. But the action code really is all about the nitty gritty in your business and really the foundations of business. Like, this is where you, from a skill set standpoint, from a energetic standpoint, where you're going to be focusing your energy. And then when we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to be talking about the awareness code, alignment code, and awaken code. Now, those three codes are all about energetic mastery, because strategy without energy doesn't get results. Like, many of you might have been on this hamster wheel of trying to get things to work in your business, and maybe you're doing all the right strategies and you've been consuming courses and you've been having lots of barking dogs and a lot of people telling you to do a lot of different things. Strategies and tactics only go as far as your energy goes. So I'm going to share like a nice big broad overview, because again, energy alone without action into specific understandings of fundamentals of business isn't going to work for your business either. Right? So it's like, how do you really meld this 100% spiritual, 100% human, action, detachment, like all of these things? It's literally like the yin and the yang. It's no longer a yin and yang of black and white. It's like, we're going gray, and we're going gray all the way, because it's melding everything all together. Okay, so hi everybody. Hey Leanne, good to see you again. Hello Angie, our amazing tribe member, Pam, Kelly. Hi, Kelly again. Jesse, just spent 2 hours with Jesse in High Council, just came off of Mastermind. So I'm a little fired up because I actually had a Mastermind back-to-back with today's training. So action code. So let's talk specifically about what we're going to be diving into. Hopefully you have your workbooks printed out, or at least handy if you just want to use your notebooks as well. I've got lots of extra kind of home play for you after each of these codes. But let's talk about the action code specifically. So we're going to talk about the three things that ultimately, when you know that these are three areas that you're focusing your learning, your growth, your expansion, where you're focusing all of your opportunities in these three areas, your business must grow. These are the three components that must be in play in order for you to literally like knock your results out of the park. Then we're also going to talk about the infinite galaxy method. I love this analogy. This came to me as a vision a few months back, probably almost a year ago. I love teaching it this way. It's going to support you in fully harnessing your energy with intentional and committed. I'm getting that from Jesse, who's watching with us today, with intentional and committed action. So you know without a question of a doubt, every single action that you're taking, what its deeper purpose is and how it serves you in your business. This is incredibly impactful, because many of you feel like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And what's really cool is it's fun and interesting to throw spaghetti at the wall. You can still throw spaghetti at the wall, and you can do it. You can play and you can experiment and you can do all these things in your business, but you can also know that there's some structure around it and what the bigger intention is, or the bigger goal is for every single one of those actions that you're throwing the spaghetti at the wall for. Okay, so then the other piece that we're going to talk about is, I'm actually going to share, so the infinite galaxy method is actually pathways. It's what some people refer to as creating funnels. It's moving people through the kind of know, love, and trust factor of your business. And I'm going to share some pathways, some examples of pathways that I've deployed in my business. And then also just some like ways for you to start thinking about what would a pathway look like if you were playing like literally 90% in your zone of genius. How can you create a pathway that feels fun and in flow and in alignment with your gifts that you already have? So that's like marketing and sales on a level you'll never learn it this way. You'll never learn it this way because it's truly honoring your unique path and your unique gifts. And then I'm going to share some other top tips and hacks that will knock your socks off to really ensure success as you move through the marketing and sales aspect of your business. Again, this is all about the action code. And then I'm going to leave you today with one big, massive question. When I say this is a big question, this is like one of those drop you to your fucking knees questions. This is like one of those questions that makes you stare your truth in the frickin' face and you can no longer deny it, about why you're in business and what you're actually here to do. So make sure that if you aren't able to stay for all of today's training, typically we run about an hour, sometimes 90 minutes. These are long, they are intense. Just know that you can watch the replays, you can come back to it. Many people in the Unleashed experience find themselves listening to these over and over and over again. Another quick announcement for you is that all of the content will be available for you to continue to watch. We've got Saturday earmarked as a replay day. So all of the content will be available for you to come back and revisit, come back and watch parts of it. If you're like, I need to come back to that, I'm not quite ready to integrate it, just mark the time down on your notes. You can come back and watch the specific parts that you want to come back to. And it's all available until Tuesday night at 11:59 Eastern time. So like midnight. I don't like saying midnight because I don't know if that technically is Wednesday at midnight and then people get confused. So Tuesday, 11:59 Eastern time, all this content will be available for you to continue to consume, to continue to soak in, but then it's going to be taken down after that time. Also a heads up, we're going to be sharing that we're not going to be done on Friday. I know I said this is a 5-day experience. We have some incredible additional bonus trainings that we're going to be sharing with you, bonus opportunities for you to connect with community and collective and tribe and really solidify and integrate everything that we're talking about in these codes. Okay, so let's get to the action code. Who's ready to get to the action code? Give me some like hell yeses. Let's get after it. Oh my gosh, there are so many of you coming in today. I am so excited. Yes, Krista. Hi, Krista. Kemba is ready to play. Hey, Renee. Laura. Oh my gosh, so many awesome faces. Old faces popping back in. How long will the lives last? I want to block my schedule. Yeah, so typically our lives will run about an hour, hour and 15, maybe even 90 minutes. I don't think I'm going to go over 90 minutes. Watching live is good for my accountability issues. Love it, Karen. Yes. Hi, Ombretta, our amazing tribe member, Ombretta. Kathy with High Council. If you guys are hearing me throw out random ass names, I name all my programs something different. So these are just your people. If you hear and you are familiar with any of these names that I'm reaching out to or that I'm throwing out there, they are here to support you as well. Neha, hello, Sadaf. Neha, okay, so also you guys have a surprise coming after this training. Neha does sketch notes and she's actually sketched every single one of these trainings for us. So we'll have that image popping up so that you can kind of like spark your memory about the things that you're learning. So many cool things planned for you guys this week, like so many cool things. Okay, let's get to it. So let's start off by the 3 areas of mastery. Oh my gosh, when you dial these 3 things in, you can have it all. These are the only 3 things that ultimately lead to, and when I say they're the only 3 things, like they're very robust. So, but it simplifies things for you. So the very first thing, and this is, if you're following along in your workbooks, these are the 3 skills, the 3 areas of mastery. The very first thing is your skill sets. So the reality is that there are certain skills that we want to learn, that we want to step into mastery around when it comes to our businesses. The key is after I share the Infinite Galaxy method, is understanding what are the things that I need to know in order to be masterful at implementing this piece in my business. So it's a great question to sit in. I'm going to be throwing out a lot of questions for you guys because the power is not in finding the answers. The power is in asking questions that are really easy for Gus to answer. Gus, God, Universe, Source, right? So some of the questions we ask, and you're going to learn this throughout this week, some of the questions we ask, we're like asking a question and we can't get an answer, or the only answer we can get is from our mind. When we phrase a question in a certain way, Gus just pops in with an answer instantly. So the skill set question would be, what are some of the things that I would need to learn or expand my skill set around in order to really step into a level of mastery? So these are the strategies, the tactics, so one of the things that I think clearly, absolutely every single person who's in business, one of the skill sets that we really want to step into a level of mastery with, in combination with these other two things I'm going to share, is sales. Like, sales is the doorway. Sales is the pathway. When people say yes to your services, obviously that nothing can happen without a sale, right? And so sales is one of those skill sets that we really want to find our own path and our own way to really become masterful in that skill set. And because it's very different. If you're a coach, sales is very different than coaching. And understanding sales is going to be really helpful, right, in your business. This can also be like, if some of you are, it's like basically when we think about skill sets, these are the things that you aren't born with. These are the things that we learn. We weren't born weren't born knowing how to ride a bike. We practiced and we learned. We tried things and we learned. We fell down and we got up. So these are the skill sets. The second thing in the skill sets is what we're talking about today. This is the action code, is the skill sets. The second thing is energetic mastery. Now, many people would say that it's mindset, but I want to take it a step further because mindset is very, very limited. And when I say energetic mastery, I'm referring to not just our thoughts, but our emotions, our soul, our intuition. Energetic mastery is all about energy. Everything is energy. We are energy. Every single thought has energy behind it. Every single emotion, every single action, like everything has energy, right? And so this goes way beyond mindset because it's not just about changing our thoughts. In fact, the lowest level of personal development and growth, which actually has been drilled into us with the billion-dollar personal growth industry, is all about mind and changing our thoughts. And I'm going to talk about tomorrow about how limiting that is actually when it comes to transforming our energetics, the mastery of our beingness. So energetic mastery is who are we being? Skill sets is what are we doing? This is the 100% human doing and 100% spiritual being. So that's the second thing. And again, days 2 through 4 in the rest of the codes is all about energetic mastery. The third thing is your community, your tribe, your network. Nothing happens in our businesses, or really our lives, without connection. Money circulates through the hands of people. Like, I know some of this stuff, it's like duh, yeah, of course. But the truth of the matter is like when we're not focusing on building our network, our tribe, our community, our collective, and we'll be talking about like collective marketing over guru marketing. This community and this collective, and the reason why things are the way they are in Unleashed, and the reason why there's such a deep connection and people come back over and over again is because we are family. Like, this is the Unleashed family. You are a part of the Unleashed family. It's very, very intentional. This is not a one-woman show. This is not a 3-person team show. This is a family. Like, none of this means anything if there aren't people here connecting with this, right? Like, so I can have the most amazing content in the world, but ultimately, if I haven't built a network of people by sharing my gifts and actually really connecting, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter how great my content is. It wouldn't matter how great the message is. So always, always, always having a network, a community, a collective. And we'll be talking more about that when we get into the Infinite Galaxy Method. So when you look at these 3 things, there's another question that I want you to always think about, because this is where I see so many people hit like massive bottlenecks in their business, is where's the gap? And it's being really clear, where's the gap? And it's like, how do you really know? Because in my experience, after working with hundreds of entrepreneurs in multiple fields, from network marketing to actually owning companies to philanthropists to like, most people believe they have a skill set deficit. Most people are like, I need to know this. I need to have a plan. I need to have these external things. Then I'll be able to be successful. But I'm telling you, like 95% of the time, it's an energetic mastery sort of deficit. And so many times we're going down the rabbit hole, which is why, I don't know about you guys, but I can't even tell you, well, I can tell you $360,000 invested in learning skill sets for my business and also some of the energetic mastery pieces. But honestly, I mean, I went down the rabbit hole of thinking that I had a skill set deficit for the first 6-7 years of my business to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it was never a skill set deficit. It was an energetic mastery deficit. I was using that as a decoy to not have to address my deeper fears. It was like I was building my entire business on the back of, I'm not ready. I'll be ready when I know this, then I'll be ready to do that. I need to learn this before I can do that. All these like parameters and rules that I'd set up for my business that then just kept costing more and more and more and more. And at the end of the day, it was like, I was just fucking scared. Like I was just scared. And I was using all of that learning and trying to focus on skill sets as a decoy to actually get to the truth of the matter, which was like, I was terrified, I was scared. And so I felt like I was still doing something, even though I was actually doing nothing, because it was all a big decoy, which we're gonna be talking about later on this week. So the key is like, where's the gap? And to be really crystal clear about, is that really the gap? You know, like what is truly the gap? Like if I had that, like the question would be, if I were masterful in sales, what else could possibly get in my way to just, you know, completely explode my business? And then you can usually uncover pretty quickly that it's actually an energetic mastery deficit. So, I mean, again, getting this piece backwards in our businesses is what is perpetuating the never-ending slew of ads and everything. And there's not judgment about that. I love Facebook ads. That was one of the skill sets I decided I wanted to master. But we buy that, and most of that buying of that other stuff is a cover up for what's really interfering with our success. So let me just share, like I very early on in my business decided, like I was inspired. I decided from an inspired place, not from a zone of genius place, not from a, oh, that looks like the best strategy and that like something that will win. That's the other thing too, is when you're deciding on skill sets, it's like, how excited do you feel it? How interested are you in the subject? So one of the things that sparked me was I did want to learn online marketing, and that was a whole slew of skill sets. So it was like, I wanted to learn Facebook ads. I wanted to learn how to build out opt-in pages. I wanted to learn about how to build an email list. I wanted to learn all the tech. But the zone of genius piece about learning those skill sets was, I love putting puzzle pieces together. Like I love seeing all these different pieces and how they all fit together from a very like strategic lens. And so it was exciting for me. It was really exciting for me to learn all those skill sets and become really masterful in them, and to keep getting better and better. In fact, I'm still so in love with this whole thing. I just for the first time in a really long time invested in honing my Facebook ads craft to a whole nother level just last week. So this program just started this week. And then it's back to the energetic mastery. So like how many of you are recognizing that, wow, I'm spending a lot of time planning, sorting, learning, reading, studying, watching YouTube videos, and how much of that is just you hiding? Like how much of that is you hiding because of the fear of being visible? You know, it's the energetic mastery piece. That's telling you that there's something deeper underneath there that's creating that mapping and that to-do lists and the figuring it all out and everything that is ultimately isolating you. Like this is where I see so many really soulful entrepreneurs like getting sucked dry because they're spending so much time planning and organizing and working on websites and design stuff and all this stuff that they're just behind their computer, that it gets really lonely really fast. Who's experienced that, where you're like, God, being an entrepreneur is really freaking lonely? Well, the reason why it's lonely is because you might be using all of those things as a decoy to actually really connecting, which is your third skill set. Because again, money flows through people. And if we're in just planning, learning, there's nothing that there's no, the energetic piece and the tribe and connection piece, which is actually the thing that creates the magnetism for success, is being completely neglected. And your soul knows it. Like your soul knows this because you feel it. You feel like, God, this is not what I signed up for. I thought by now I'd be working with people and sharing my gifts with the world and having people be excited about what I had to share. And I just feel like a lonely hobo sitting in my pajamas behind my computer for 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. And it's like, so there's just like how do you transition away from all of that that's just a decoy into doing the stuff that's scary? And again, a lot of that stuff's going to be coming up in these energetic mastery codes. Okay, so let me check in. How's this resonating so far about these 3 pieces, and where maybe you've been decoying a little bit, and how to start breaking through that decoy? Yes, Claire, just spent all morning working on my website and my business cards. Exactly. You are not alone, which is why I'm so thrilled, so many of you, that you're really just new in your business. And I love it, because now you have the awareness, and it's like, oh yeah, that's just fear keeping me busy on all these things. I'll be ready when, once I have this, then. All that stuff is a decoy. It's all just simply fear. Lonely hobo in front of my computer, my pajamas, 60 hours a week. Yes, Christine, exactly. I remember one time my husband, he's like, I was like, gosh, it's like, it feels like everything's taking so long. And I was like in my complete woe is me mode after I'd spent hours building out courses and all these things. And behind my computer, websites and all the tech stuff and figuring things out and all the learning. And it was like weeks, probably months, that I was like a hobo behind my computer in my pajama pants. And I was wondering why my business was growing so slow, because I was working so freaking hard. And I was like doing my woe is me, and he just doesn't put up with that stuff. And he said, Stace, he's like, when you used to work in a job, like you would wake up in the morning, you would get dressed, you would put makeup on, and you would actually talk to people. He's like, so what if you started treating your business the same way that you treated a job, and actually took a different approach with it? And I was like, oh my gosh, when's the last time I put makeup on? Oh my gosh. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, like this man's just been seeing this frumpy woman around his house for like months. He wasn't passing any judgment, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, holy shit, I haven't talked to another human being in like months. And I haven't like actually felt like really good about myself in like months, because I was so deep into this decoy. So you guys are not alone if you're in this decoy right now. Our hands are permanently up. Yes, Leah. Oh my gosh. I'm a lonely hobo in my PJs, Renee. Well, now we're not lonely hobos because we're all here connecting. Right. I mean, we could still be in our PJs, but at least we're not lonely. Okay. Oh, since I love this, Fabiola, I've let more of the tasks go since I was hiding, like the tasks that you were using as a decoy. And as soon as you came out front and center, away from all the decoy, 5 referrals, 2 sales calls, a sale call tomorrow, follow up this week, hardly been posting, hardly on social media. It's all energy and mindset. A to the woman. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome. Okay, so my hubby, the guru. I decided months ago to get out the door 4 days a week to attend events, meet new faces. It's been amazing. Awesome, Terry. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about now the Infinite Galaxy method. So again, hopefully you guys have your workbooks. If you don't have them yet, I'm guessing Amy or Ashley are hanging around here. You can tag them and they'll get you the link to get your workbook. But this Infinite Galaxy method is definitely the thing where it's nice to have I have this big, beautiful visual. Oh my gosh, but I didn't print it in color because my color ink was out. Story of my life. Now I'm so busy like not paying attention to details. Like the past hobo in the PJs me would have been like, I better make sure I have 18 things of colored ink. Like what else do I need to make sure I'm fully prepared for my fully loaded business? But now today I'm out of colored ink. So anyways, it's this really like fancy image here that you'll want to find in your workbooks. And if you don't have it, no big deal. But you once you go back to it, it's just something that will stay deep in your mind. Okay, so let's talk about the Infinite Galaxy. I call it the Business Accelerator or the Infinite Galaxy method in your workbooks. So I love coming up with names. To me, it's just like this fun creative. So I called it, now my new name for it is Infinite Galaxy Method for Cosmic Growth. Oh, so good. All right, so the first 2 things that I want to talk about is there's an outer ring that I call the solar system. And we're literally like, I want you to imagine like you're out in the universe, and that's why it's called the Infinite Galaxy. You're out in the galaxy. And the first stop is like, we got to come to the solar system. And then the next stop we're going to talk about is the planet, like come to planet Earth. And then the next stop is come to my hometown. Welcome, let me show you around. And then the next stop is your inner circle. So that's why it's a circle in this way, is we start like, and people have to move through all of these circles. They have to move through all these rings. And ultimately we can't have somebody who's out in the solar system. Like we can't have an alien from Mars like come to our inner circle without moving through the rest of these rings. So we're going to talk about how do you move through these rings. So let's talk about each one at a time. So the solar system. So when you think about the solar system, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is the biggest bottleneck in your business. I don't care what level of business you're at, this is the bottleneck in my business, this is the bottleneck in new people's business. Like, this is the thing that if you are not constantly going out into the solar system and bringing them to your planet, your business will dry up. You will constantly feel like you're start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Like, solar system is where it's at. And what I find, most people, they're focusing on their inner circle and they're focusing on their planet, and they're totally neglecting their solar system, and then they're wondering why their business isn't growing. So every single one of these rings is crucial for your business. Again, we're talking very strategic today. That's why it's action code. So the solar system, I want you to think about its fresh eyes. You know that you're in your solar system when you're showing up in places and in front of people who have never ever seen you or experienced you before. So fresh eyes. So we're talking about visibility. So the question that you can sit with is like, how are you being visible? Where are you going and sharing your gifts where people have never ever experienced you before? It's their first time ever hearing your name. It's their first time ever seeing you. And so I want to share, and this is going to simplify everything, because most of what you learn is most of what you see out there about things to learn is actually about getting out into a solar system. But I want to share some examples of solar system activities that get you seen by people who have never experienced you before on both an offline sense and an online sense. So the first question that you'll want to answer for yourself is, where am I called to be? What suits me best? What excites me best? What jazzes me best? Not what will get me the fastest results or what will help me grow my business really fast. Those kinds of questions, Gus is going to be like, he don't have an answer for you. Like, there's no answer for that. But Gus does like, where am I called to be, offline or online? Where does your soul want to be? Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself connecting belly to belly? Do you see yourself in a room full of people with the buzz of being offline? Or do you see yourself online, putting puzzle pieces together, connecting on social, spending time on social media, all of those things, right? So that's the difference. First question is, where do you want to be? So the solar system, so let's talk about offline first. So some common solar system skill sets. We're going to talk about skill sets because we're talking energetic mastery tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. Some skill sets that you can explore and feel into. Again, let your system talk to you, not just your head. We call this holographic thinking. Those of you that are iPad coaches, you know what I'm talking about. Let your mind, intuition, and emotion all speak to you about what sparks you. And I want you to feel for the spark as I share these different solar system activities. Feel the spark, not what makes sense logically, because that's not going to lead you anywhere. Actually, it's just going to lead you down a big rabbit hole and you're going to get stuck. Where do you feel curiosity, a spark, an interest, I hadn't thought of that before. I wonder what that is. That's what's going to guide you. That's the energy that's going to be guiding you to then decide the skill sets that you want to step into mastery around. Okay, so offline. Here's some examples of offline solar system marketing. And when I talk about the solar system of the planet, that's marketing. When I talk about the hometown, that's sales. And then when I talk about the inner circle, that's delivery. So there's always three things happening in our business: marketing, which is really visibility, and then sales, which is when you're making offers, and then delivery, which is now delivering on those offers when the client says yes. So those are always just the three things that are always happening in your business and that you always want to keep in balance. So if you all of a sudden get your client load full and it's filled to the place that your time is monopolized by delivery and you shut down sales and marketing, you're going to find that at the end of those client contracts, you're going to be starting all over again with sales and marketing again. So you're always doing sales, you're always doing marketing, and you're always doing delivery. So this might be a surprise for some of you that are brand new in business. You might be thinking like, oh, I just want to coach. I just want to do my thing. I just want to write. And it's like, that's just what I want to do. Like, 30 hours a week, and then I'm happy. And it's like, well, if you're in business, guess what? We can find ways to tap into your zone of genius to do these things, but you must also be marketing, and you must also be selling, and you must also be delivering. Like, it's all things, right? So that's a big misconception that people have coming into business. They're like, oh, I'm just going to do this. It's going to be awesome. And it's like, so we want to find, how can we market in your zone of genius, and how can we sell in your zone of genius so that the whole system feels like flow. Like, that's the big thing. Like, we're not just doing this to get to there. We're like, we find the flow in every single aspect. So that's where you're following the energy. So solar system, offline. So again, how are you being seen in places that you've never been seen before? Networking is one way. Speaking, public speaking at live events, your own workshops, whatever that may be. Networking, speaking, referrals. So again, if you have a referral system in play where clients that are signing with you or people that are hiring you know how to ask them to then and educate them to send you referrals. Partnerships. So partnerships, that's the very first way that I built my business. I'll be sharing that example. But partnerships is like, who do you already know offline that's serving a similar audience? So I see a lot of my clients will go to chiropractors, for example. So maybe they're a health and wellness coach, and they'll partner up with a chiropractor to do workshops in their practice, right? Or they'll partner up and add their service as an extra thing and then give a cut to the chiropractor. So that's an example of creating a partnership offline. Flyers and print ads. So, which I like cringe even just saying that, because your website and your flyers are not the thing that sells anything. It's you actually connecting with people. But anyways, flyers and print ads. And then the other offline piece is sponsorships. So again, if there's events and you can be a sponsor, maybe you have a booth, maybe you're in their program, maybe, yeah, you're paying for sponsorship. You're paying for visibility for whatever that event is. So those are some examples of solar system skill sets or activities that are offline. So now let's talk about online, and all of those things would be getting you in front of people who have never ever seen you before. Now, some of those things you'll be like, if you go to the same networking event over and over and over and over again, it might not be a solar system thing. If you're not meeting anybody new at those networking events, now you have a new bottleneck in your business because you're not actually getting your traffic from that activity, right? You're not actually being seen in front of new people. So let's talk about online. So examples of online solar system skill sets and activities. Making social connection requests. This can be as simple as sending out friend requests on Facebook or connection requests on LinkedIn. And it's crazy because it's like, it's so simple to do. Like, just send out connection requests and all of a sudden you have a new audience that's growing every single day, every single time you want to connect with people. Going into Facebook groups and connecting in groups. Again, so it's like, or LinkedIn groups. Like, how are you visible in somebody else's audience online? You can be sharing really high value stuff in groups. It doesn't have to be anything gross and salesy. And most people have a no spamming thing. It doesn't matter. And we'll talk about that again in the alignment code about you just showing up and sharing value can attract a lot of people who have never ever seen you before. Facebook ads is obviously another way online where you're paying for traffic, right? Or Google ads, any paid advertising. Podcasts and summits. If you decide to be interviewed on podcasts and summits, and maybe you're a part of something where now you're combining a bunch of audiences. I just did a summit interview for Make Happiness Your Bottom Line, which is coming out in a couple weeks here. And so now it's like the 20 or 30 of us that did it. We're all sharing Make Happiness Your Bottom Line, which means everybody else's audience has access to my interview. So now all of a sudden I'm kind of bleeding into 20 to 30 other entrepreneurs' audiences, and their audiences and my audience is bleeding into their audiences as well, right? So it's like a shared audience sort of thing when you're doing podcasts and summits. There's also online strategic partnerships where maybe somebody's promoting you or promoting a link, or they're an affiliate partner in some way. And then another online solar system thing could be like public relations, like submitting your writings to blog posts. Sakari, who's in High Council, she does this brilliantly. She's been published all over the place and gotten a ton of visibility through submitting her writings in online publications. Or maybe it's PR, what else? It's like submitting, mostly like submitting your blogs, submitting your articles, could be TV interviews, some other examples of kind of online pieces. So again, I'm going to check in here. So like, this is super nitty gritty and tangible, but think about like, how are you constantly and where are you being seen by people who've never ever seen you before? That is something you want to be doing in your business every single week. The more you do this, the more you're building the community and the network and the tribe that we talked about in the 3 areas of mastery, right? So it might take some skill sets and some energetic mastery in order to build that tribe and that community. but it's like, what are you being called to? Like, where are you really called to show up and be seen where you've never, ever been seen before? Okay, so let's talk about now the planet. So now the biggest thing here is I want you to, like, you're going to understand these 3 rings, but what I really want you to, where the strategy really comes into play is, how do you move people from one rung, is that the word, to the next rung, and then to the next rung? So the planet is, now I want you to think about, you're out in your solar system, you have fresh eyes everywhere, like you're meeting new people who've never experienced you before are experiencing you. And I want you to imagine that while you're out there, you've got your butterfly net. And it's like there's butterflies flying all around, and you're showing up in your gifts, and people are seeing you and you're meeting people. How are you actually capturing those butterflies and bringing them to your planet? Like, what is it about your planet that's like, yes, I would love to flutter on over to your planet? And we're not capturing them like and never letting them go, but at the very least, when I say capture, what I mean is that you're capturing them so that you can continue to nurture and grow the relationship. So it's like, if it's a, say for example, you're doing SEO on your website, you know, like let's say you have a website, that would be another online thing, and you're doing SEO, search engine optimization, and you're getting a lot of traffic or Google ads, and this traffic's driving to your website, and you might have this gorgeous website, but they can come and they can leave. They can come and they can leave. So how are you actually capturing them so that then you can continue to stay in contact with them, and you actually are empowered to be able to build that relationship with them, and you don't have to go back out into the universe to try to capture them again. Like, you either have a holy butterfly net that they just escape out of, or you have a nice solid container that you're moving them into. So so how are you actually capturing them? So this might be, so let me just keep it really simple again, because we don't need to get into the decoy of skill set. This can be as simple as, if you're at a networking event, making it a point to connect with people on LinkedIn that you're meeting at that networking event. And then you actually can converse, because now you're connected on LinkedIn. You can send messages, you can stay in contact, you can send them resources, right? Or maybe you actually send a friend request to the people that you're out meeting, out and about. So some examples of planets is, again, how do you make a call to action and then capture them to your planet? It sounds kind of like barbaric, but literally it's like something that makes people hungry and they desire to come to your planet. Like, why do we want to go to the beaches of Mexico? There's something very enticing that's calling us there, right? And why is Minnesota not probably the biggest vacation destination this time of year where I live? Because it's freaking cold and not many people are like super excited to come up here right now. So how are we calling them forward to our planet? So some planets, and I'm just going to share with you what planets are. Planets are any place where you have people, like droves of people that you can continue to communicate with. So it could be your social media followers. And this is a little tricky because technically anything can happen with social and you don't own any of it. And some people will be like, oh, you know, all weird about it, but we have it right now and that's all that matters to me. So it's like, how are you building your social media following? It can be email lists. It can be phone numbers, right? It's your list of contacts right in your phone. It can be physical addresses. It's basically anywhere that you have a list or a way to continue to connect with and communicate with people. Or it can be a bot list. So many of you are on our bot list, which means that we communicate with you in Messenger, right? So we have a bot list so we can communicate with you in Messenger. Many of you are on our email list so we can communicate with you in email. You're in our group, so we've got you in the planet of our group, you know, and many of you are following me on social. So we've got you kind of like in multiple places, so then I can know that I can connect with you and I can share my gifts with you and I can inspire and I can just show up and I can be me. And I know that the people who are interested and resonant with my message, I can reach them because I have you like someplace that I can actually connect with you. I don't have to start over from scratch every single time because I'm only focused on solar system. So that's the second piece. And this is your marketing. And so some of you, this might be like mind blowing already. And some of you might be like, yeah, I understand all of this. But the key is like, how intentional are you with your actions? The key is, how clear are you? And how are you harnessing your energy to say, I am doing this activity for the purpose of, right? I'm doing this activity in order to share my gift out further and wider because people haven't experienced me in this corner of the earth, right? Or then you would know you're doing a solar system activity. Or I'm doing this in order to. So the objective of the solar system is to introduce yourself. It's the introduction to you. The objective of the planet is to increase that relationship, to continue to build that know, love, and trust. Like, how am I nurturing? How am I connecting? How am I actually letting people get to know me so we can start building a real relationship? And we do that through our little planets, right? And the planets can be all those things I just mentioned. Our lists, that's how we're building the relationship. Then from there, we can dial it in even further to our hometown. The hometown is the invitation. Now, before I get to the hometown, you heard me say, many of you are on multiple of our planets. So that's what we call cross-pollination. So it's like, we're very intentional that, like, there's stuff changing with bots every single day. Like, bots could just go away tomorrow, or my account could be shut down. I don't want to put that out into the universe. But if it is, I'm not concerned, because I'm finding ways to ensure that I'm setting it up and enticing my new friends to join me in lots of different planets, right? So I haven't done this yet, but this is a new idea I have, where I'm like, I would love to send out actual gifts to everybody who's coming into Unleashed. So I'm putting out this big bright light and saying, gosh, I would love, they're called shock and awe boxes. Like, I'd love to send a pen and the actual physical workbook, like really nice paper, like colors, so you guys don't have to print it out. Like, I'd love to start sending that. Well, that would be a way that then now I would also get an address list planet going, right? But I'm thinking, I'm doing it from an intention of like, how can I serve more powerfully? Like, how can I ensure that the people that actually want to hear this don't miss it? Because we hear that all the time, like, gosh, I missed it, and can you make sure you tell me next time? It's like, how can I serve powerfully? It's like white glove service that I want to give to my planets, because then I know that the people that want to be there are really feeling cared for and taken care of, which is why I invest in this Unleashed experience, because I want to invest in all of you, because you're important to me. You're in my planet. Like, this is important to me. So how are you taking care of the people in your planet? So then you can cross-pollinate too. So just in case anything were to happen, you can take care of them in multiple ways. I'm already losing my voice. Okay, so then from the planet, the goal is to continue to connect and to continue to connect deeply. And what will happen is there's like people that start to rise up in your consciousness, or not in your consciousness, they just become more, you start to see the same names over and over again. You're like, oh my gosh, they just keep, oh my gosh, there they are again. Oh, I wonder more about them. This is the point where you can start to like invite them into the hometown. And so the transition from planet to hometown is you hear or see an opportunity that your gifts could serve somebody powerfully, and you ask a really simple question like, is that something you'd like help with? Most of us overcomplicate this. It's like, how do you book more sales calls? We'll see opportunities and just simply ask people, would you like help with that? It doesn't have to be complicated. This is not a massive skill set to transition people into your hometown. The hometown, everything about the hometown is the invitation. So the hometown is essentially, it's your phone calls, your sales calls. If you're doing, if you're a more advanced entrepreneur and you have sales pages, the sales pages are your hometown. When you're driving people to the sales page, the minute that they land on the sales page, it's any time that you're making an offer in exchange, like for money for your services and your gifts, right? And so the hometown is the invitation. It's where you're submitting proposals. If you're in the corporate arena, anytime where you're making a paid call to action, people are in your hometown. And so yeah, so this is the sales piece, right? This is the invitation to work with you. So how do you make the transition from the planet into the hometown? You simply see opportunities. Maybe people are sharing or engaging with your social media, and you just shoot them a quick message in a totally detached way. Hey, I saw you posted this. Just curious, is this something you're looking for help on? No big deal if you are or you aren't, which leads to kind of the next, well, I'll go to the inner circle, and then I want to talk about the next thing here where most people are, and it's a little bit of the energetic mastery with all of this. So let's talk about the inner circle. So the inner circle is what you sold, right? So this is the delivery. This is your delivery mechanism. This is like if you've got a signature program, if you're doing one-on-one coaching or group coaching, if you are selling a physical product, if you are selling a digital product, if you are selling other services, like this is your inner circle, which is just your products and your services, and what I call the hell yes. These are the people who are like, hell yes, I want to take it deeper, and I see the value in this, and I'm ready to create that exchange and that partnership with you. So that's the inner circle. Now the inner circle, you'll see I also have listed low, mid, and high. So so there might be like, you might have varying aspects of your inner circle. So for example, we've got programs that run from, right now I don't have anything really low end running, but we've got programs that run from like, I don't know, about $4,500 to $20,000. And so it's like, there's like and that's not low, right? Like I used to have programs that were $200. I used to have programs that were $500. So it's like there'd be low, and then all of a sudden once they're in the low, you could always hone in and continue to go into the higher kind of soulmate clients if you're selling high end. There's like an inner circle where you're really working closely with people, like really closely. Like these are your dream soulmate clients that you are like partnered in a deep way with. Okay, so that's the Infinite Galaxy Business Accelerator. That's your Infinite Galaxy method that you are moving people through every single step of the way. Cross-pollination, yes, Missy. A box full of my energy is a wonderful idea. Yeah, isn't that Karen? It's awesome. Okay, so yes, would you like help with that? Exactly, thank you for highlighting that, Angie, our amazing tribe member, and Missy, our amazing tribe member, helping everybody out. Okay, so that's that. So now if you think about it, there's really only 3 activities that you're focusing on every single week in your business. You're focusing on getting in front of people who've never seen you before. You're focusing on nurturing the people who are already in your planets, and you're focusing on making invitations. That's it. You do those 3 things, you have a business, right? And so it's like you're visible, you capture them, you nurture them, you invite them, and you deliver. Those are the 5 things that you do in your business over and over and over again to keep it a well-oiled machine. You're visible, you capture, you nurture, you invite, you deliver. So let's talk about, I want to mention here so this is what I call conscious choice marketing and sales. So every single rung that you're transitioning people into in your business, you're simply offering them an opportunity to make a conscious choice. This is not sales, and this is not marketing for your benefit. This is simply ensuring that people have a choice, and we can be totally detached in that choice. Would you, I'm in the solar system, and I might say, hey, I'm doing this free Unleashed experience where we'll be diving into the wealth codes and the Infinite Galaxy method that's generated hundreds of thousands of dollars for myself and multiple clients. Would you be interested in it? Not sure if it's a fit or not. It's very nonchalant. So I want you to think about conscious choice marketing as a very nonchalant kind of energetic, doesn't matter to me if you do or don't, totally detached. Thought this might be a fit for you, but I'm not really sure. Would you like it? Yes or no? Either answer is perfectly okay with me. That's what I mean by conscious choice marketing, is you're simply giving people an opportunity to say yes or no. So that's the solar system to the planet. Now they're in the planet. Hey, by the way, gosh, you know, if you'd like to take this deeper, how would you feel about having a chat about that? Yes or no? Okay, cool. I'm cool with it either way. You tell me what will help you. And then you're in the sales conversation. Hey, I actually have a program that might be a really great fit for you. The investment is this, and these are the benefits of it. Does that sound interesting to you? Yes or no? We overcomplicate everything that we're doing in the business when we start to think like, I'm simply just offering choices. As an entrepreneur, your job is to give people the chance to make a damn choice. You have no control over what choice they make, how well they make that choice. At the end of the day, every single step, you are just simply affording people the chance to make a choice. And if you don't make those invitations, and if you don't make those offers, you are depriving people of the opportunity to make a choice. You are making the choice for them without them even having a chance to make the choice. It's another thing I see is like we get so deep into our own shit, which again, I'm going to talk about especially tomorrow, that we don't even make offers because we think it's about us. What if it has nothing to do with you? What if this is just simply you saying, this is my gift. Would you like it? And they're like, no, I prefer, this is my gift. Here's some, strawberry ice cream. Would you like it? No, actually, I prefer vanilla. Okay, totally cool. I'll eat it. Yeah, I love strawberry ice cream. Thank you. Like, we're not even offering the ice cream because we're scared of looking salesy. The only reason you're salesy is if you've got an intention that's attached to the sale and that you think somebody's going to give you something, which is literally just giving your power away. It's like you think other people are in control of your wealth and your abundance. You are 100% in control of it. You are 100% responsible for what you're creating in your life and the experiences that you're having in your life. Nobody else. And if you're going to give your power out to leads and out to prospects and out to clients, then it's no wonder why things might feel a little bit Like there's a long ways to go, right? Okay, so we're starting into some truth bitch slaps. So get used to this. The truth bitch slaps are going to get harder and harder every step along the way. So how do you integrate Gus on a daily basis? Any tips? Oh yes, Irina, we're totally talking about this in especially the Awaken Code on Thursday, like how to literally have Gus right by your side every step of the way. Really good stuff. Elaine, yes, isn't this exciting, Elaine? Detach from the outcome. Angie, yes, we offer choices to be a best version of the self. Yeah, and I would even say, like, Irina, I don't even know if like that's, it's just how we offering a conscious choice. So it's like we're helping them make a conscious choice, because that would be a judgment to even say, like, you know what, you're not really at your highest self right now, so let me offer you this, right? So it's like, it's not, it's just even like saying, like, would you like this? And if they're like, no, I wouldn't, and it's like, well, how come? And it's like, well, because fear, 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 fear. Well, then it's not a conscious choice. And it's like, well, wow, what would you choose if that wasn't the fear? And then they're like, well, then I would do it. And then it's like, okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit. It's just leaning into it to help people make conscious choice every step of the way. So yeah, it's really good. Do you want help? Do you want the help of my gift? Yes, Missy. Okay. Okay, I think let's keep those slaps coming. It's like the scene in I Love Huckabees. The heavier the slap, the more clarity comes. Yes. Oh, yes, Christine. It's so funny. Most of my clients, when they reach out to me, they're like, by the way, you have full permission to totally, I call them truth bitch slaps, totally truth bitch slap me. Like, I'm ready for it. Bring it, bring it, bring it. It's like, when you really want the truth bitch slap, there's probably not usually one there. But when you don't want it, then it stings and it's kind of fun. Okay, so I just want to share some quick examples here of some of my business trajectory and how I moved through the Infinite Galaxy method. And then I want to share some really cool hacks to really maximize the Infinite Galaxy method. Okay, so let me see here. So when I first started my business, everything was offline. So I knew I wanted to work with adolescents, and I don't want to get into the story, but we did amazing consciousness work in our schools. Like many of you have probably heard me share this story, but it literally took energy leadership, energetic mastery into our schools for our most at-risk youth. My background is I was a juvenile probation officer, and I knew the system was broken, and I really wanted to get consciousness in the school, but I had to be able to do it in a way that the school would be open to it, so getting really great buy-in for it and all of that. So one of the ways that I found my way into the schools was I created a strategic partnership. So this is I don't have access to these hundreds of youth, and I don't have access to identifying the youth that are actually failing in school. So how could I get that access? Well, there was a local nonprofit in my hometown who served exactly this population, and they were already in the schools doing work. So I actually decided to create a strategic partnership with them. So I reached out to their board, we had meetings, and I built the relationship. My whole focus was on how can I build this relationship with the nonprofit specifically? Now, I had a leg in because as a juvenile probation officer, I'd already worked with them for a decade. They already had some know, like, and trust with me. They knew that I had experience working with this population, that I could be a great fit. The key here is that I was offering a program that has never, ever, ever been implemented in the schools. So it was brand new, and there was no proven track record. So, so that's where most of the work came in, was developing a strong enough partnership that they could trust me to run a pilot program that's never ever been run before. So I leveraged so for example, they already had the know, love, and trust with the school district. They already were they had a standing relationship with the school district, and were already taking kids out of class to deliver their services, that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I was literally able to just piggyback on top of this. This is what a strategic partnership is. I was able to piggyback on top to align with their mission, and then not have to spend all that time building the relationship with the school and then building the relationship with the students, because the students also had a great relationship with this nonprofit. They were called Youth Outreach. So in a strategic partnership, while that initial relationship took a very long time to build, once it was built, I shortcutted all of the other relationships that would typically have to be built in business. So that's one of the advantages of a strategic partnership, as well as one of the disadvantages. So then literally, that was my solar system was building the strategic partnership. And then just nurturing that partnership. Then my hometown was just getting the buy-in from the youth. So then the school literally handed me a list of like 40 kids and they're like, here's your kids, coach any one of them. And it was like, awesome. I had a built-in caseload and my capacity was 20. So now my hometown was inviting the kids to participate in the program, right? So I bypassed the planet because the strategic partnership had leveraged all of that already. So now I just am having meetings with all these kids and saying, would you like to come play? Would you like to try this? By the way, I take you out of class for an hour every single week, getting the buy-in. And then as soon as they said yes, then I was able to actually do that delivery. So that's just one example of an offline thing that happened. So then when all of that was said and done, and long story short, I completely left that work. I burnt out really fast when they pulled me off the front lines of working with kids into an administrative role. I literally leaped into the unknown with no backup plan and no experience being in business. And the first place I went was networking. So now I'm back to an offline. So it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm building my business for the first time ever because I don't have a strategic partnership that's just handing me clients. And so I'm like, oh, I suppose I could try networking. So I would go to networking events in my hometown. And so that's my solar system. So people who had no clue that I was a coach, no clue what I could do, no clue about what my services were. This was their first time seeing me. And that from that networking event, I would bring people into my planet by setting up coffee chats. Now, many of you probably are already doing this, or you have done this in the past. This is traditional networking path. So now once I have a coffee chat, they're in my planet. Now we're having a deeper conversation. We're connecting. It's very casual. There's no ulterior motives. There's no sales. It's truly just connecting. Tell me about yourself. Then when I had those coffee chats and I could see people were interested, or I saw their wheels turning about what I was sharing, about what I was doing, then I would be able to say, gosh, it seems like this is kind of speaking to you. Would you like to have a deeper conversation about that and how it might work for you? So then I was transitioning people into my hometown. So then it was what we call a two call close, or a two-part close. First was getting to know you. I could catch a vision, or I could catch that they were interested. Then I would say, would you like help with that? And then we would go into the actual sales call. And on the sales call, if it felt like a good fit, I would invite them to become a one-on-one coaching client or do an assessment and a debrief, right? So it was like a very traditional networking path. You see, solar system, get to know you call, you're in my planet, let me nurture you, let me get to know you. I catch the vision. I'm like, oh my gosh, I see an opportunity. Would you like to talk about how to do that with some help? Yes. Would you like to work with me by your side to bring that goal to fruition? Yes. Very clear infinite galaxy method, right? Okay, so then I exhausted my hometown. I live in a town of about 20,000 people, so I started traveling like within an hour radius, and my whole life was consumed with networking and coffee chats. And I was like, there's gotta be an easier way. So I want you to write this question down, because this is still the question that I use, that Gus loves to play with me on today in my business. The question is, how can I serve more people and create greater financial abundance without it costing me more time? How can I serve more people and create even greater financial abundance without it costing me more time? And that's the question. And sometimes I would sit in that question for months. But this particular time, when I was like, gosh, I'm running all over the place. Like, how can I do this so it's more effective? Like, how can I simplify this? How can I build the know, like, and trust even further? That was when I realized there's an authority scale. So in networking, when you walk into a room, you are one of the multiple of people in the room, and there's nothing ultimately that sets you apart aside from the conversations that you're having. And then I'd be like, seeing that they also had speakers at networking events. And I'd be like, how do you get up there where there's an authority, where you're seen on a different level than this kind of jarring back and forth? Tell me about you, tell me about you. And there's like this equal playing field. I didn't want to play on an equal playing field. I wanted to set myself up to be in a position where I was an authority. And so think about the authority scale too. Now it takes more work maybe on the front end, but on the back end, you save time, right? So then ultimately that led me to my third and kind of most interesting funnel that I've already alluded to, which was, wow, I could speak at these events and I could be on their timeline, but what opportunities exist for me to start speaking right away? And that was when I realized I could do online trainings, and I started doing online webinars. And that was when my business got really complex, and I started really playing in tech and really playing in online marketing. I learned how to master Facebook ads. I learned how to master creating webinars that people were engaged in. I learned how to then drive them into my email list. Like all of the tech stuff when I was a hobo in my pajamas was figuring all this stuff out with online marketing. But ultimately, now this path from the Infinite Galaxy Business Accelerator, the Infinite Galaxy method, was Facebook ads. So my ad was going in front of millions of people who have never ever seen or heard my name before. That's why I loved paid advertising, because it was literally limitless about how many people I could touch and how many people I could share a message with. Whether they clicked the ad or not didn't matter to me. I could share a message and I knew I was sharing it far and wide, and people who had never seen me before were seeing the message that I wanted to express from my heart. So I know I'm probably over glamorizing Facebook ads because there's a shit ton of learning, and I'm still, like I said, I just stepped into a program to learn it even more deeply. So it was Facebook ad, that was my solar system. Then to email list, many of you have probably been on this. You were probably hit the opt-in page for Unleashed Experience, where there's a single hosted web page, submit your email address. Now that I have the email address, they're in my planet. This is my email address planet. So I wanted to shortcut all of this relationship building. So the reason why they were opting in was to attend a live training with me. So then when they opted in, they were on my email list. I could nurture them leading up to the training. And then I delivered the training. So that was like the deep nurturing where I could just be in my expression and share myself and share what was on my mind and how I thought I could help them and all of that. And then on that webinar, the call to action was, would you like to have a strategy call? Would you like to have a business breakthrough strategy call? Would you like to have a discovery call? And then the invitation was to come into my hometown. I would have the sales calls and I would sign clients, right? So that was that very robust online marketing funnel. It took a long time to really learn all those skill sets, but ultimately my business grew really quickly. I think I had my first 5-figure month with the first webinar that I had done, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. I'm grabbing people from all over the world who are interested in this topic. Like my reach just felt so far. Felt like I'd cracked the code on the solar system aspect of the Infinite Galaxy method, and basically an inexhaustible audience. But then I burnt out. But that's another story for another day. Okay, so those are some examples. So I want you guys in your workbooks, not right now, but I would love, like, this is a workshop, so like take some action and map out, like, what would it look like? Like, be really intentional. Play with this Infinite Galaxy method. Like, where can I go that I have fresh eyes, where people have never experienced me before? Where would I like to drive them to? Which planet would I like to put them on? Social media following, email list, phone number, whatever. Which planet would I like them to land on? How do I want to nurture and connect with those in my planet that give me enough insight to be able to make the invitation into a sales call? And then how do I want to do those sales calls? And then what do I want to deliver? What is the offer I want to make on those sales calls? So most new coaches spend all this time on their inner circle. What is my offer? What am I offering? What's the thing I want to deliver? And it's like, guess what? You can have the most amazing fucking program on the face of this planet. You can have like the most killer figured out, you know everything you're going to deliver. But if you don't have a freaking solar system and you don't have a planet and you don't have a way to get them into your hometown, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I see so many coaches spending so much time, and this is why I would love to just encourage you to harness your energy. Pick one path and step into skill set mastery, energetic mastery, and build the community, build the network through that path, and your business will flourish. Okay, so like, where are you spending all of your time when you want to actually spread it out so that you're touching on all of these rungs of the circle of the Infinite Galaxy method? Because again, this is the biggest bottleneck that I see, is that people will create the most brilliant, beautiful things. They will have the most amazing programs in the world, and they'll be like, I'm ready to do a group program, and it's going to be like this, and it's going to be like that, and it's going to be so beautiful, and all the unicorns are singing, and all the rainbows are flying, and everybody's happy in my utopia. And then they put it out there to their audience of 5 people, and nobody bites, and they think that they've got everything wrong and that nobody's interested. So then they go and say, oh, it must be the program. Maybe it takes too much time for them to do a group program. Okay, let me do something else. Let me create a new program. They didn't like that program. And it's like, guess what? You only have 5 people to share it with. That's why it didn't work. So then we're solving problems that don't even exist. We're guessing what the problems are. And it's like, no, the reality is you haven't even had a fair shake at whether or not people are interested in this, because you don't have a big enough network or community or collective to connect with that are nurtured and ready to say yes to it, right? It's like trying to say like, hey, you want to fuck? Without even saying like, hey, what's your name? You know, so it's just been so much time figuring all these things out that ultimately, without the rest of these pieces in play, you're just a sitting duck like literally a sitting duck. And then you get discouraged and you feel defeated and you feel disappointed and you wonder if you're cut out for it, and your energetic mastery also collapses all at the same time. And you think it's all because you got this one thing wrong, but the reality is it wasn't that thing at all. The reality is that we weren't focusing on all the pieces that actually have to be in play in order for you to have a sustainable, consistent, thriving, impactful business. Okay, there we go about that one. Let me take a breath. How will I manage all these pieces and also have materials ready when someone lands in my hometown? Awesome, Jessica. Okay, so I'm glad you're asking this question. Jessica's saying, how will I manage all these pieces and also have materials ready when someone lands in my hometown? We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this in probably the awareness and the alignment code. You all are fucking I'm going to cuss again. You're all crystal balling. You're all guessing. Everything is a guessing game until these things happen. So it's like, how do you know what materials you're going to need? You're just guessing what materials the client wants. And guess what? You know what the client doesn't actually want? Fucking materials. What they want is they want to be able to experience you. They want to be able to know. And you know what else? And this is the alignment code, when you realize, like, I can figure anything out. And this is also harnessing the energy. So I'm going a little bit into energetic mastery just because we must always keep this at the forefront. But this is where, like, guess what? If the client that you're selling actually wants a piece of material, you can create it when they ask for it. So often we're spending all this time creating imaginary things that we're guessing people are going to ask for, and then they never ask for it. In fact, it's wild. Like half the time, at this stage of the game, it's like half the time I'll be on a sales call with somebody and they don't even ask me how much it costs. And I could have set up like 18 different payment options, and like, they didn't even care. They didn't even care what it cost. They were just like, I just know that this is the thing that's speaking to me right now and I'm going to find a way. And it's like, so it's also recognizing that, yeah, we create all these things, and half the shit that you create, you're never even going to use because it actually doesn't serve the person that you're talking to. So you might say, let's just say, and this is what I love, like, then once you get into the delivery of the work that you're doing with your clients, like, many people are going to start trying to create these lead magnets, they're called, right, to get them on your email list. And it's like, guess what? When you're working with clients, almost all my lead magnets today, aside from the Unleashed experience, which the Unleashed experience came through delivery, almost all of them were created while I was working with clients, where a client was like, gosh, it'd be so helpful if I had this, or if you had that in writing. Oh, let me do that for you. Let me create that for you. And then I created it and realized, you know what? I bet my planet would love this too. Hey, planet, would you be interested in this fear annihilator process? Yes or no? Yes, 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 yes. Awesome. I didn't have to create it off the beginning. I just created it. It's like building the plane as you fly it every single step of the way. But the biggest thing that this means is that you fully trust yourself to figure it out every single step of the way. That you fully trust and are confident enough to know that whatever you need exactly when you need it, you will find a way. So most of that, even trying to create stuff on the front end and trying to crystal ball and guess what everybody's going to be asking for and what the program is that people want, and like, you'll figure all of it out and you'll realize, like, oh, I didn't think about that one. And then that's where we become the hobos in our PJs, because we're so busy creating things off of our guessing games that then we don't even focus on the fact that let's just connect, like, let's just be a human. And obviously, I'm so glad you shared this, Jessica, because obviously this isn't just for you. Like, this is for me too. Like, sometimes I forget, like, I'll get behind my computer and I'll be like, you know what, Stace? It's all about connection. Like, nothing happens without connecting human to human. Human to human. Just be a fucking human. Like, it's crazy. Talk to people like you talk to your friends. Like, we don't have to have it all, like, buttoned up, like, oh, and this is my professional side. There's like, people reach out to me, like, there's typos in your stuff, and I'm like, I don't fucking care, because I'm human. Like, I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for connection. I'm going for, if you can't pick up on the energy underneath what I'm putting down, and that is the primary thing that you're concerned about, you're not my people, and that's okay, right? So it's like, we put so much effort in making sure everything's all buttoned up, and it's like, I had somebody in the last Unleashed experience, she was actually one of my first ever clients in the network marketing industry. And she sent me a message and she's like, listen, I don't understand why you need to swear so much. She's like, it's really a big turnoff and I don't think I can listen to it anymore. It's not good for me. What was my answer? Okay, totally get it. And I'm sorry that you feel offended by it. However, I'm not willing to compromise my expression because it makes you uncomfortable. Then you're not my people. You were my people and now you're not my people. And that's okay. Goodbye. There's no judgment. Like, it's not a big deal. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then that's okay. Right? So I'm on another tangent. Okay. A lot of that stuff's going to be coming up in the other codes here too. Yeah, the infinite galaxy method would totally work for your dating life too. Whatever you need, exactly when you need it, you will find the way. Amen, Kathy. Yes. That's the fun part. Being yourself, the best way to connect. Totally. Totally had people reach out and say, oh my God, you misspelled this or that. And I'm like, and? Exactly, Krista. It's like, yeah. I've even had people like have the assumption that I would actually really care about it. They're like, well, I'm sure somebody at your, like, it seems like excellence is something important to you. And it seems like this would be something you'd really care about. And it's like, huh, well, yes, excellence is important to me, but not in spelling and grammar. It's more so in like energy and just like really honoring my energy at any given time. So you got one part correct in your assumptions, but the rest, not quite so much. Okay. I'm glad you're finding value in this, Irina. All right, so let's talk about some, now that I told you we're going to maybe go up to 90 minutes, but I want to talk about now the success breakthroughs, the how to really work with the infinite galaxy method in the both and way, in how can you be strategic and spiritual? How can you be action oriented and detached? Like how can you be 100% human and 100% spiritual? That's the big thing that we're going to be talking about this whole week, is how you can be 100% human and 100% spiritual. You can, you can, the message that'll be coming through and that you'll see later on this week is you can honor honor all of it. But okay, before I go into that. So, so here's what I want to walk through is what I call the dab. How do you dab? The dab. I don't know how to dab. My kids do, but the dab process. So this is like some ways to really take what I've taught so far and really solidify it. So the first thing is we have got to decide. That's the D. You've got to decide. Like, are you in this or aren't you? When there's no plan B, you make plan A work. And it doesn't have to be from a hustle place, but if you're still thinking like, do I want to do this? Don't I want to do that? You're just like Gus doesn't come in and meet us where we're waffly. Like the minute we make the decision, something happens and Gus is like, oh, she's in, boom, here I am. Let's co-create. Let's make some magic. And so we've got to decide and stop pretending to be in business and start to choose to be in business. And so now you have the information. Yes, you can feel confused and all of that, but know that that's just an energetic thing. If you're confused about any of the strategic pieces, that's an energetic thing. It's not a skill set thing. It's an energetic mastery thing, not a skill set thing, because confusion is just a sign of fear. So decide. So the first thing you want to decide is, again, where am I called, online or offline? And then just decide on one path. Every single time in my business, I dug deep instead of wide. So the 3 examples I shared with you, when I was doing Facebook ads, I was not finding strategic partners. When I was doing networking, I was not doing Facebook ads. Like, decide the path. You only need one path. And that's what part of your home play is after today, is to just play with the different paths and just make the decision. This is the path that I'm committed to learning the skill sets and the energetic mastery and to create the community and the connection around. And just decide and stick to it. So an analogy here is imagine that you're mining for gold. And this is where a lot of you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. And it's like, because you're spending so much time pursuing multiple paths. So you're mining for gold and you dig a little hole and you're like, nope, no gold. And you dig another hole and you're like, nope, still no gold. And you dig another hole. And it's taking all this effort to dig all these little shallow holes and you're never striking gold. Whereas I'm telling you, every single one of these paths, however you lay it out, you'll strike gold. Like every single path will lead you to gold. The key is deciding which path you want to take and digging deep. So then if we dig deep, we strike gold, right? So decide, go deep instead of wide. And you won't know what you really like until you just do it. So again, stay out of the guessing game, make the decision and say, you know what? I'm going to dig this thing so deep that I'm going to learn this. Because here's the thing that I really want to leave you with. If anybody on the face of the planet, and even if they haven't, has done something you're aspiring to do, the only thing that they have that you don't is a skill set and an energetic mastery and a network. That's it. So we're going back to the 3 things. Like if you aspire to have whatever level of business you aspire to have. If you master the skill sets, the energetics, mastery of your own mastery, and creating the community and the tribe, you will have it. And you will have more than that. This is not rocket science. This is simply mostly us getting in our own ways. And so it's like, if anybody has accomplished anything, you can too. There's nothing, like nobody was like gifted with like, you will be the one who gets all the money. Like, we all have access to it. Now, we might do it in our own unique ways, and hopefully you do. Hopefully it's not cookie cutter. You bring yourself to every single piece of it, which again, we're going to talk about in Tuesday through Thursday. But you have everything you need, and you have access to everything you need. It's just, you have the tenacity, the grit, the commitment, the decision, the willingness to go for it. Because if you haven't decided, that's not in play. That's the D. Then it's recognizing that you can harness the energy once you decide on the path. Be really intentional. It's being strategic and intentional at the same time. So you're not dispersing your energy in all sorts of solar system things, or dispersing your energy all in the inner circle and realizing, like, even though you're pouring all the energy and the activity in there, it's not doing anything. And it's because you haven't had a congruent path, right, for people to get there. So harness your energy as opposed to scattering it. Pick one from every rung and then play with it and experiment and just start taking action and learning the skill sets that you're meant to learn, and start making the connections and just see how it goes and see how it feels. It's all an experiment. It's all just information. Nothing means anything. It's all just an experiment. Business is meant to be a game. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be interesting. It's meant to be an experiment. Play with it. Why did business become so fucking serious? Seriously, it's not that big of a deal. This is not life or death. It just isn't. So play, experiment, have fun. And then be willing to see the bird's eye view, right? So first and foremost, see your whole infinite galaxy method, and then be willing to pull all your energy to the step right in front of you for any aspect of your infinite galaxy method. So that's when I say harness the energy. It's like being willing to be so pulled together with the step that's right in front of you. What's the baby step right in front of me in order for me to step into a new level of mastery from an energetic and a skill set standpoint on this piece here? And it's like, you can harness the energy in those 4 rungs and just keep moving in that direction. Okay, so some questions that you can play with around the decision piece, once the decision is made, actually, is, well, you're making your decision. Let me do that. So you'll map it out, but then think about, where are my gifts the brightest? Where do I shine the brightest? What am I doing and who am I being when I feel like I'm in my power? Are you speaking? Are you writing? Like, what are you doing and who are you being? What path feels the most exciting and full of possibility? Right? What path feels like it's the most exciting and full of possibility? And then I'm going to throw this in as a caveat, because you could be in training to my energy. So I get really excited about Facebook ads, and I find a lot of my clients like also get really excited about it, but it actually doesn't align with their zone of genius and the way that their minds and their souls and their emotions work, right? So to me, like, Facebook advertising is like, it's like gambling. Like, I have such a loosey-goosey relationship with, like, I have a level of wealth consciousness that I think I've run ads, like I've thrown $5,000 in and didn't get any return on investment. And it was just all play for me. But if that's not your, like, that would like make you, like, your energy collapse in a way that it would paralyze you. Like, I wouldn't recommend going into that, right? So this is the other question that I want you to think about, so that you can know if you're in training to my excitement, or if it's truly yours, is this coming from me? Is this coming from my soul? Or is it because I'm picking up on somebody else's excitement? So is it mine, or is it somebody else's? Because just because it jazzes me doesn't mean that it's going to jazz you, right? So, yeah, what path feels full of excitement and possibility? What are my gifts that I can see leveraging and using and harnessing every single step of the way? And is this coming from me, or is it from something I learned, or some other, especially if you're super opportunistic, if you've got a lot of level 5 consciousness energy, you see opportunities in everything, which is why you might throw spaghetti at the wall. And it's like, remember, just because you see the opportunity, how does it speak to you? How does it integrate with your soul? The A stands for act. You've heard me say this. Action is the only thing that brings clarity. If you're mapping stuff out and trying to figure everything out and creating resources and all that stuff, you will never actually know until you take action. Action is the only thing that will give you actual real information. Action brings clarity versus the crystal balling that we were talking about. Also, remembering that everything is just information. Nothing means anything until you give it meaning. It's all information. Just because you did it and it didn't work doesn't mean it's not going to work. It was just information. You can be curious about it. You can play with it. When you act, set yourself up for success. Really, truly, what is 100% within your control? You're focusing on the journey instead of the outcome. You give your power away if you're judging whether or not something is working based on something external of you. You can't control the win. You can only control the sales. So it's like, if you're like, oh, I'm not getting very much engagement. Oh, people aren't commenting or liking. Oh, nobody's showing up. You have zero control over any of that. Oh, I'm not signing any clients. You have zero control over if anybody says yes to anything where you're offering them a conscious choice. So what do you have control over? You have control over the action that you're taking and your energetic mastery while you're taking that action. And then the interpretations you're creating from that action. You are creating this entire reality in your business. That is 100% within your control. None of your power needs to be taken away from external circumstances. So everything flopped. So what? Why are we making that mean anything? It's just information. So take that bring in some neutrality. Like, we're so emotional about everything. Like, take the emotion out for a little bit and just see where that leads you when you start to realize, like, okay, what's within my control? So what? What am I going to do now? What's that going to look like? Now what? And the biggest thing is when you recognize that this is the ultimate level of confidence, is when you're like, you know what? I can figure anything out. It might take me a day, it might take me a week, it might take me a year, but there's one thing I know for sure. I can figure it out. I can figure it out. I can learn the skill sets. I can figure out the energetic mastery piece. And this is the whole Marie Forleo, right? Everything's figure outable. Then you can release the hold on that it has to be this one way and this pathway. It's like, you know what? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out when I get there. The B stands for believe. So decide, act, believe. This is where you're playing the long game in your business. The long game. And I'm going to be dropping this big question for you guys here in just a minute. The long game is like, back to what I said, when there's no plan B, you make plan A work. When it's like, actually, there's only one thing you're not willing to compromise, and that's that you are willing to do whatever it takes at any cost for you to fulfill the deepest purpose and calling and passion on your heart. That nothing can stop you. Dolly Latinsky, who's a High Council member, she's the Unstoppable Growth Coach. It's when you realize and you believe that nothing will stop you, that this is too important, that there's only one regret that you could ever live with in your life. You could handle everything else, but this one thing is that when it's your last day, when it's your last breath, that you put it all out on the table, that you shared your gifts freely, relentlessly, unstoppably. And it's what Larry Winget said. When he goes to his grave, he wants his tombstone to say one thing: all used up. All used up. And that's the only thing that you could ever regret, is if you don't put it all out on the table and you don't believe that that purpose and that vision was put on your heart because it's meant to happen. And you are uniquely designed to have it happen in your life. And that it's not like you were duped by Gus. It's not like they gave you this vision and then said, just kidding, and dangled it out in front of you and then took it away. It's meant for you. It was put in your heart the moment that you were conceived or born. And so it's like remembering that. No, this isn't a matter of if. That's not even a question. It's believing wholeheartedly. It's having the commitment, the tenacity, the grit, the willingness to literally be willing to be all used up in your gifts. And that might mean, for some people, to fund the dream. Back to nothing means anything until you give it meaning. A lot of my clients, they're putting this codependence, when they first come in, they have this codependence on their business, like their business needs to provide for them. Your business doesn't owe you anything. Your gifts don't owe you anything. They're blessings in their own right. They don't owe you anything. So if you need to fund the dream in order for you to get your gifts out into the world, then that's what you do, right? So you fund the dream. If you have to work at a job, it doesn't mean that you can't be a success coach or you can't be inspiring because you're still working at a job. No, you're funding your dream. That's how freaking committed you are to it, right? So if you're still working in a job and you're feeling like you've got so far to go because you're still working, That's bullshit. You're funding your dream. You care that much about your dream that you're willing to not put the pressures of finances on your dream. It's not your dream's job to provide for you. Your dream's job is to play in this web that each of our gifts plays into for the whole of humanity. It doesn't owe us anything. And so like we can release the codependency on our business because your business is the vehicle to this purpose, to this calling, to what you're here to do. So, and then act as if it's all inevitable. If you truly believe that the vision that you have on your heart, that it was inevitable, that it was guaranteed, that it was written in the stars, how would you be showing up? How much energy would you be able to reinvest in showing up because it wasn't spent on questioning if you were on the right path and you just knew that you were, which I'm getting a little bit into our next energetic mastery codes. And so then the other thing I just want to leave you with, and then I want to check your comments because I'll stay on for a few more minutes. I know we're already at 90 minutes. I think the rest will go quicker, but I can't promise. This is the drop you to your knees question. This is the one where you got to get really freaking dead honest with yourself. It comes from Elon Musk. I've brought it to every mastermind ever since I've heard it. And it's like, it just tells you what actually you are meant to be doing. So this is the question. What would you do if you knew it only had a 5% chance of succeeding? What would you do? What would you be doing if you knew it only had a 5% chance of succeeding? This, my friends, my sisters, my brothers, my loves, is your purpose. When you are called to do something, whether it succeeds in the traditional sense or not, you know that that is the thing you are meant for. And the rest is just pretend play. The rest is putting on something because you think that's what the market wants, because you think that's the thing that will make money, because you think that's the thing that will be easier. This thing, the thing that you would do, even if you failed miserably at it, but there's not a single piece of you that is willing to go to your grave without doing it. That's the thing. That's the gift that you're here to share with the world. That's the gift. That's the gift that will make you buco bucks. That's the thing that will create the pathway, the shortcut to everything that you're looking for, is when you decide to do that thing and you act on that thing, even if it's going to fail, and you believe that it doesn't matter if it fails or succeeds, because the only thing that could possibly fail is not doing that thing. That's the only definition of failure, is not doing that thing. Okay, so let me check in on comments here. That is a wrap for our action code. We're going to pop up Neha's sketch note that kind of brings all of this home. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us live today. There's still 75 of you here 95 minutes later. I think we hit 100 or even higher. But let me check in. I'm not totally signing off yet because I love being able to connect with you guys here at the end, but I wanted to get through the content for anybody who's just catching the replay. Okay, Claire, how do we play with it and experiment and also go deep? Oh, so there's so many different aspects. It's a great question, Claire. So let's just say, like, if I'm committed to Facebook ads, there's, even within any skill set, there's a million different ways to do it, right? Like if I'm committed to learning sales, there's like a million different ways to approach sales. And so it's just like being willing to try and play and learn and experiment, and how can it get, and one of my favorite questions is, especially when I like hit something really that feels really good, I'm like, ooh, and how could it get even better? And how could I take it even deeper? So what you find is it really is its own like matrix rabbit hole, sort of like taking the red pill or the blue pill. Like within any one of these skill sets or within any one of these paths, there's ways to then all of a sudden you can add in cross-pollination, where it's like, ooh, what would it look like to get them on 2 lists? Ooh, what would it look like to deliver white glove service in between everything in one of these things? Like I'm still doing it. Like I've got the path like totally laid, and now all of a sudden, so I'm deep in the path, but there's even like, I can go even deeper where I'm like, ooh, what would that be like if I were to send like a gift out that was really like awesome before the Unleashed experience even started and people got like fun little packages in the mail? Ooh, what would that look like? Ooh, it's still the same pathway, but it's like it just can keep going deeper and deeper. And it's not like totally throwing the baby out with the bathwater and saying, oh, fuck this isn't working, let me go try something else and starting from scratch. Okay. Yes, CC, your business is play and fun and fulfilling and joy. If it's not, if you can't fall in love with the process of building a business, it'd be like, I mean, okay, I'm going to go on another tangent here because it's coming through. Like, we have no business being in business if we can't figure out a way to make the entire process fun. One thing. And then two things, I hear from people all the time, I just want to figure out a pathway that's consistent and sustainable. That's like a well-oiled machine that like gives me consistent, reliable results that feels viable. And it's like, if you wanted consistency and sustainability and viability and complete knowing of every single thing and exactly how it was going to go, rather than being in the adventure of business where you never ever know how it's going to go, if you wanted consistency and reliability, like that's bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit on you right now if that's what you're asking for in business, is that you want to have some sense of control. Because if that's what you really wanted, if that was really important to you, you'd be sitting on a factory line doing the same mundane, dumbass shit. That might be a judgment. But if that's what you really wanted, that's what you would choose to do, is you would choose to do, 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 do. Let's face it, that is not what you want. You would be bored off your damn ass. You were not called into entrepreneurship because you wanted consistency. No, you wanted adventure. You wanted experiences. You wanted growth. You wanted expansion. You wanted to play in multiple different areas with multiple different things. You actually want the unknown. Yet the other half of you is terrified of the unknown. So I get it. I'm not trying to diss you, but like, this is the wishy-washiness that we play with Gus. And he's like, I don't fucking know what you're asking for. One day you're asking for this, but then I give you that and you're bored off your ass and you're asking for that. He's like, I don't know. You're telling me two different things at the exact same time all the time. It's like this wishy-washy. And then we're like, why am I not manifesting? And it's like, because you're asking for the opposites over and over and over again. You're saying, I want it, but I don't. I want it, but I don't. And then it's like, okay, just once you decide for real, then Gus can show up and actually and support you in the creation of what you really want. Okay, that just wanted to come through for y'all. I think that one blew up the comments. I just see I've got 87 new comments. Okay, let me get down here to the newer ones. Can't keep up. My computer's freezing. Yes, that's exactly it, Cece. Foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. Truth bitch slap. Sakari's like, slap me around even more. Great stuff as always. James, our amazing James, tribe member. Awesome. Been there, done that. Marva, sold her big business and ready to jump in with both feet. Thanks, Stacey, but I'm waiting for the part that makes me want to clean stuff. Denise, you know what? Maybe you already got all the space and you can just receive all the magic. Some of you might be getting the urge to clear stuff out because you're making room for this. Others of you, if you aren't, you maybe already have the space and you get to just receive the magic without having to clear it all out. I love it. You're welcome, Regina. Oh, Atai's like, it's 12:34 here and I feel so awake. So this is another thing that we watched happen, the very first Unleashed experience that we did. It was a year ago, January, a year ago. And people were like, I can't sleep. Oh my gosh, what the hell is happening with my energy? So don't be surprised. You're literally in training to like the childlike energy. You know how kids, like, they just never really get tired? They're just like Energizer bunnies. That's what energetic mastery does. Is like, you don't, like this, like, here we are, it's 90 minutes. I was just on a 2-hour mastermind call. Now I've been here for almost 2 hours, and guess what? Time doesn't even exist. Like, I could go for like another 15 hours. It's crazy. It's because you guys are so powerful. What's an example of a question? Love this, Michelle. What's an example of a question to ask to bring people into the planet from the solar system? We'll talk about this a little bit in the alignment code too, but it's like, what could I possibly share with people that would support them, that would get, like, this is my favorite question to ask. I'm talking about one of the quantum powers, which is the quantum power of giving. One of my favorite questions to ask that literally generated 100K in my business without making any call to actions is, what could I share or create for my dream clients that would get them real results with no strings attached? What could I, like, literally, it's like, what could you create that is so incredibly valuable to the clients you are here to serve? And that's where Unleashed came from, right? Like, there's no cost to this. Like, we're just here. Like, I'm just sharing my gifts. And it's like, Unleashed came from because I was like, what can I create that will get people real breakthrough results with no strings attached? And then the idea came, and then that was the thing that I offered then I offered it in exchange for an email address or a bot list or coming to my Facebook group. Like I cross-pollinated all those planets at once. So that's one of the questions. There'll be some other questions that will pop up as we go into especially the alignment code, which will be Wednesday. 5 years old and it's Christmas Eve. Exactly, Marva. We're all gonna be like wired little Energizer bunnies sprinkling our amazingness out into the world. We let this Unleash is about, we light the freaking world up. Like we're talking about you being in your light and as a result, lighting the world up, like lighting the world on fire with your energy, because you can do that one person at a time, like one person, each one of you, literally, as you entrain to this energy that's coming into the Unleashed container, you light the freaking world up. I've had the vision so many times where in Unleashed where I'm like, I see people go ping, 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 light, 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 light. And I seriously see what's happening here, lighting up the globe. You guys are from all over the world and we're lighting up the globe just by being here. Pam, I was gonna take a nap and now I'm wide awake. You're not alone, Pam. Oh, I know this group's on fire. I could start feeling your guys' energy like a week ago, and I was like, hot damn, people. Okay, looks like I got through most of the comments. Well, I know there's a bunch more comments that I didn't quite get through because they got lost way up in the feed, but I'm gonna come back and read your guys' comments, and any other questions you have, I'll be sure to answer them. Thank you everybody for joining us live today, your first day of the Unleashed experience, learning all about the action code. This is it for strategy in this group. Now there's obviously tons of other strategies and tactics and all of that. Like I love teaching all of that. I could totally go into the strategic lens place, but we're turning the page tomorrow. It's all going into the energetic mastery piece, because that's where I see people collapse time and I see people literally manifest. If you check out the units here, some of the amazing people here already, they've left their testimonials. Like literally people have manifested 100K within weeks of being in the Unleashed experience. Just crazy manifestations happen because of the energetic mastery piece. So that's all starting tomorrow. And of course, also watch, there's gonna be a thread for you to, you've got your homework in your workbook. There's some journaling questions for you to play with. Coming up with your own infinite galaxy path, that is in your workbook. And then also we're gonna have a thread going because we would love to hear what are your key takeaways, what are your ahas, because information without implementation does not help you integrate any of this. So this is an active week where we're actually taking it and integrating it and moving it forward with action, because action brings clarity, and this is the action code. All right, thanks everybody. Have an awesome rest of your day and night, and hopefully you can get some sleep and come back for tomorrow. All right, bye. Won't let me end. Come on.